That's about what I'm doing. Just $15 before open. Five, four, three, two, one.
Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Welcome into your Friday edition. I'm Bailey Burmaster, joined alongside Ellie Parker. Friday edition, got a good lineup for you. We're going to talk about Falcons Steelers as we get into Sunday. Week 1, football is finally back after that great game between the Ravens and Chiefs last night. Came down to the wire. KSU preps for their first FBS home game. Fared pretty well in their first game ever against UTSA, which is not a bad football program. So eager to see how that one pans out on Saturday. We have to talk about the Dream because not only are they trying to make a playoff push, but we got more injury news, which isn't great. Then we have the little fun thing we've been adding, my question for Ellie for the week, so we can get her all riled up to comment on things.
Oh, God.
No, this week actually isn't one of them, so don't worry. This week's a good one. But Ella, let's start with Falcons Steelers. It seems that Russell Wilson is questionable for Sunday. I will ask your opinion. Do you think we see Russell Wilson?
I think we see him a little bit. I don't think we see him the entire game.
Okay.
I'm feeling maybe 1 or 2 drives just to feel him out. I know they're saying he's questionable. I think they're going to just throw him out there anyway just to, again, get him some reps. Just see how he's feeling, and then they'll fall back on Justin Fields for most of the game.
This is my theory. I think if Russell Wilson does not play and Justin Fields pops off, you will never see Russell Wilson again
that's interesting.
unless Justin Fields gets hurt.
Now, okay, as a Bears fan, I have seen Justin Fields over the last several years. I think I can count the number of times he's popped off on one hand.
Okay, and in the equal note, you can probably not count any games Russell Wilson has popped off
True.
in the last year and a half.
True.
So that's where I'm at. It's a lesser of two evils. I think fresh beginnings do a lot better for players like Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. I don't want to say washed. I think that's a really negative connotation, but
I'm going to say it. Wilson is washed.
Russ
I'm
is
sorry.
not who he used to be. It's getting time to hang it up. So I could see it where Justin Fields ends up taking over at some point this season. But yeah, we'll see how it all fares. Kyle Pitts, good to go, full participant again today at practice. So injury report for the Falcons is fairly good. But let's tune into what the players had to say as we gear up for Week 1 for the Falcons at the Benz against the Steelers.
Just play it by ear.
Yeah, I trust the staff and the team and what they have for us, and so I'm going with what they're saying, and I feel great and ready to go. My number's called and ready to execute at a high level.
How much of the communication that goes on between safeties is universal, so that it travels with you to any team, and how much of it is specific to you and Jesse and Richie and et cetera have to learn each other?
Yeah, there's a big learning component. And anytime you're in a defensive set formation, there's a lot of communication that goes on, right? And it's not just what's being taught, but it's how we all see it. How we see it is going to be different than how it's taught on paper, right? And so there's a lot of those communication points that obviously I have to catch up on, not being here in OTAs and in training camp and things like that. But secondary has been absolutely amazing. There's a lot of things that transfer over from defenses I played in prior. Jesse's been awesome, Rich, D, all the guys, AJ, Mike. So it's been a seamless transition, and looking forward to that showing on Sunday.
In your experience, is there timetable for how this goes? Like by week 4, we'll be clicking. Everything will be rolling as it should. Or by week 2, or do you expect that Sunday when you roll out there?
No, I expect that Sunday when I'm out there. Yeah, I know how important each game is, right? And this is our first game at home. There's a lot of excitement right now, and a bunch of guys have said in interviews prior that we have to earn the privilege of having people be excited about the Falcons playing really good football. And so that's going to start not in week 4 but week 1, right? The preparation's already been laid, the foundation's been laid, and it's my job as a veteran coming in late to catch up to what's been established here, and I'm going to get that done.
Does your carryover with Russ give either one of you any sort of advantage this week?
I don't think so. I think there's I'm sure people might run with that, but I said I think it was yesterday or the day before, Russ is a heck of a competitor. A proven success story in this league, and in my opinion, a Hall of Fame quarterback. And so he's going to have his things out there, and he's going to make his plays, and we're going to make our plays. And obviously, it helps being in the inner circle with him with the last 2 years in Denver, but it's going to be completely different. Him in Pittsburgh. So looking forward to getting their best, and they're going to get our best.
Are you excited to go up against him, not in a practice setting, actually in a game in a different uniform?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't. I think the only other time I played against him would have been my second year in the league. Then other than that, yeah, just been teammates in practice, and it was fun learning from him, right? Like I said, all the accolades I gave him earlier. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to competing against him again in like a real-time setting where wins and losses count.
It has been a quick transition for you. What have you noticed just about the hunger and the desire for this team to win?
Yeah, that's, I mentioned it, and it was, one of the main reasons, if not the biggest reason on wanting to be here. I want to be a part of a organization like this, and one that's yearning to go win and win at the highest level, right? And I think you can see with all the moves that have been made in the offseason, the extensions, the people that were already here and have kind of established themselves as younger players. I think this all around, from top to bottom, this is top class, and it's my job to make that right? I'm being brought in here solely to just come in and win football games, and so I'm hoping that that will come to fruition. And like I said, not in week 4, not in week 5, but starting on Sunday.
I know that you had a relationship with Jesse prior to coming here. You guys had talked just a little bit, but how much has he helped you just in these few short weeks to get you ready to go?
Yeah, Jesse's been awesome. He's helped me a lot, and really smart. And so, there's things that are new here for me that, he can easily correlate to defenses I played in the past. And not just Jess, but the whole secondary, right? Like my communication with AJ, with Mike, with Rich, that has to be solid all across the board with D. And so they all been great, and I'm really thankful for them, man. We put in extra hours of film, extra time after walkthroughs, before, after, and like I said, it's got to correlate on Sunday for it to mean something.
How has Jesse handled helping you get adjusted? Like, did he come to you and be like, "I'm here for you," or did you have to go to him?
Yeah, no, he came to me. He's a great dude, and I think just obviously with everything, call wise, defensively, a lot of things like in the building, but things outside too, right? Like neighborhoods, places to live, all those things, right? Jess has been awesome, and there's a bunch of people here that have been awesome, not just Jesse. So I'm thankful, like I said, top to bottom, top class, and super thankful for the guys here and everyone involved.
Obviously, he's a tremendous play caller and a great coach. And so we've been kind of trying to watch all sorts of stuff. He's presents some challenges, and it'll be fun to see him again.
Yeah, as you kind of study as best you can his offense, do you find yourself seeing like old Falcons tape on there? Because that's the most recent example.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of assume that he's going to run some sort of that. Probably some new wrinkles, new stuff for us. So we've been watching some Falcons tape, I guess.
Apparently, Mike Tomlin was on a podcast. He said, "Hey, Raheem, just FYI, we're going to run Justin Fields out there, have a package for them." I mean, how do you look at that quarterback situation that they have over there?
Yeah, I mean, they have two extremely talented guys. Obviously, Fields presents some challenges in the run game, just being dynamic and a good runner as he is. And then, I mean, Russ is mobile as well, so we have to be ready for both of them to use their feet on us.
week one is always going to be a ton of unscouted looks. I know that's part of it every week for you guys, but how do you go into a game, new quarterback, new offense coordinator, new everything? How does that affect you guys?
Yeah, I think it kind of simplifies it because we just play by our rules. You know, we're calling it a rules ball game. You know, whatever they present, we're just gonna play by the rules that we've come to know throughout camp and through the off season. And whatever happens, but hopefully good things as long as we play sound defense.
There were a couple new quarterbacks here as well, so how much does that help you going into new quarterbacks here in practice and then new quarterbacks on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, playing against Mike and Kirk every single day.
The pressure is right there.
I know they're doing a good job of preparing us, especially Mike with his feet for the the fields and Russ look. But yeah, they've been awesome to play against and have definitely challenged our defense and made us a lot better.
As somebody who's been working towards this moment, getting back on the field for a long time, is there one moment, whether it's the running out of the smoke or the anthem or your first big hit, whatever, is there one moment that you've kind of had like circled for a long time?
Yeah, I'd say probably the first hit, first tackle, kind of make it real again. So definitely looking forward to that.
Is that nerves or excitement?
I think it's a little bit of both, and I think that's kind of how you want it. If you're not nervous, it means you maybe don't care enough, but you're definitely excited for that.
How are you feeling after an entire training camp and now going back into full swing?
Yeah, feel great, ready to go. Body feels good, healthy, mentally ready, and yeah, looking forward to this weekend.
It's been a while since you felt a game week where you knew you were playing on Sunday. Does it feel good just to get back into that rhythm of things?
Yeah, for sure. Trying to find that routine again, get into the mode of watching film and mentally preparing to go play on Sunday. Yeah, it definitely feels good to be back in that mode.
What's it been like having Matthew Jude around?
Oh, awesome. He's a great guy, funny personality, but then a tremendous player, tremendous competitor. Lucky he's on our side now, and it's been fun to have him out at practice.
What was it like seeing JD's growth just in training camp alone?
Yeah, JD's been fun to get to know as well. He's extremely smart, extremely talented, works hard, so it's been a lot of fun playing against him. Oh, you're good.
Was it impressive to see him run with you during the scrimmage specifically? Because I know Khalid and Nate weren't.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of all been rotating, and JD's awesome to play with. Obviously, a smart player, like I said. You don't have to tell him what to do. He knows what he's doing, which is a good thing, and he's a talented player.
Make it look like we've been together for 3 or 4 years. How far along is that process?
I think we put in some good time in camp and before camp to get the reps in so that our relationship grows as offense.
Is it reasonable to expect it to look smooth right out of the gate, or do you expect that there are going to be some growing pains and some bumps in the road?
I mean, obviously that's what we strive for, to look as good as we can and just take it play by play.
Playing Arthur Sunday, does that matter? I mean, is that a factor at all?
Arthur's on offense, so not for me now.
You won't.
No.
How confident are you guys in Kirk as far as going into these big games early in the season?
Very confident. He's confident, and if he's confident, we're just playing off his energy and just trying to, like I said, put these drives together and play together.
How much has Raheem's experience with both offense and defense kind of helped you guys? Have you seen that play out at all throughout the training camp?
Yeah, just seeing him bounce back and forth between offense and defense. He has his different saves and different tools he can help you win, and just listening to him, he's seen a lot of ball.
How much do you feel like you've learned from Kirk Cousins, and just how much does he want to help you guys in terms of the offense as a whole?
I learned a lot from him. It's continual. He's like another coach, I say, and just hearing him out there, trying to help you play faster and be more knowledgeable of the game is pretty good.
When did you realize that he genuinely wants to help you guys get better?
When he first got here, just hearing how he likes his the offense to be ran and what he expects and how everybody can just play off of him.
I know you have high expectations for yourself heading into this year, so how much does that excite you that you have a quarterback that just wants you to get better?
Pretty good. Just kind of makes me more inclined to just be in the right spot at the right time and just knowing that everything will be dispersed correct.
What's the feeling like just around the locker room now that the countdown's on? You guys looking ahead to Sunday?
It's different in pre-practice open locker room. That's the first thing.
That's true.
But I would just say it's pretty cool. Everybody it's a great camaraderie, and we're just all pretty cool and just excited for game one.
Would you like to share any thoughts on the Ravens-Chiefs game before we move on to some college football?
Ooh, that's a live wire. That's a live wire.
I'll give you a minute.
He was in bounds. I'm sorry.
No, he wasn't. You're wild for that.
I'm sorry.
On a Friday? You don't believe that, do you?
He was in bounds. I'm
No,
sorry.
he wasn't. Are you trying to get me worked up today? I think you are. No way.
Sorry.
Brett, did you think he was in bounds? No way.
Sorry. I don't. A toe.
Was not in
That's
bounds.
that's
I'm-
what we're. That's the.
I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. You better wear white cleats next time. Better wear white cleats. Let's talk about KSU, Kennesaw State. First season in the FBS. They lost on the road to UTSA. But they have their first home FBS game against Louisiana, who's a team that's a very solid team.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. Bohannon even talked about the fact that this team brings back a lot of veterans, a lot of camaraderie, something they're still trying to find, but he really liked the grit from his team. Let's look in and hear from Bohannon on just what to expect from this weekend.
First 3 drives didn't exactly go in your favor when UTSA had the ball, but from that point on, you guys pretty much stuffed them. Coach Harris making adjustments, players getting into their right spots, combination of the two. What was the defensive turnaround that really turned the game back into a close one?
Well, I think the big thing early on is we were just turning some people loose. You know what I mean? I think for whatever reason, we needed to settle down and just everybody go do their job. There's several plays there, John. We turn people loose. Whether we're supposed to peel on a back or we're supposed to take the wheel in our thirds, whatever it might be. And a lot of it is stuff, we had practiced. They just, again, I guess, you're on the road and you're in a different environment. That's, but once we settled down, we played much better defense, right? And basically it was just doing our job. And I think Coach Harris did a great job of getting them settled down. I went in at halftime. I'm like, guys, listen, we've done enough harm to last a whole season in the first half. If we'll just go play and do our job, we'll be all right. And honestly, we did. There's just times where sometimes for us, and this is where we got to get better, and this is all phases, like things will domino on us. We might have a bad play somewhere. We got to stop, and we got to go the next play and move on. And this is something we've been harping on a lot with our guys. But I think, to your point, once we settled down a little bit, they couldn't run the ball, you know what I mean? And we put ourselves in a position where we could play a little faster and do the things that I think as the season goes on we're going to be good at, which is, we're going to have to move around and play fast. That's just who we are. But really it was just settling down and doing your job. We just got out of whack a little bit early on. But you can't go spot nobody 21 points, man, especially when you're playing a team that's picked top 2 in their conference and talking about college football playoff, all that stuff. You can't spot anybody, much less them.
One of the players who had what seemed to be a great performance was linebacker Hobson. What was his grade, and how does he go about building on that? Because linebacker play is going to be key as going forward.
Yeah. I don't know, but when you turn the tape on, that sucker was playing fast. I don't know what his grade was, but I know he was around the freaking ball all day. Like, that's the first thing I noticed when I was on the plane and I'm watching the game. I turned around and my guys, holy cow, 44 is playing his tail off. And he got banged up a little bit in the game. Hopefully he'll be all right. But John, I don't know what his grade was, but I'm telling you what, he's playing fast. And he was on a mission. It's like when he wanted to hit somebody, he wanted to let them know he was there, right? I think we had a little of that mentality Saturday, which was really good to see. It's important for us that's who we are, right? John, you've been here since day one, right? That's who we are, and it was good to have that feeling in that game of getting back to some of those things. But he's playing fast. He was, man. I'm telling you, it's one of the first things that you're like, oh, man, there's 44. And we had a lot of guys playing fast, but he stood out.
Coach, in the past, special teams has sometimes been an issue. What do you think of the kicking performances this week?
I don't know if I want to talk about it. what Jacob did in the punt game, when you flip the field like that, well, what a game changer that is. Making all our field goals, having confidence to go do that is huge, right? Those two things alone, there's other things we got to get cleaned up, but I think those two things alone were big for us. We got to continue that. All three phases got to be on point this year. You know what I mean? Like, we all got to be in this sucker together, and we all got to be on point, but I think Saturday that was very encouraging, to have that. The flip the field was big. You're backed up and then you pin them inside the 10. I mean, that's a huge advantage, right? And we were able to get some field goals made. And I think that's really big. And we got to find a way. We got to find a way to punch the ball in the end zone some too. We got to keep making them, but we're not going to win with just field goals. We got to keep making them, but we're not going to win with just field goals. We're gonna have to score points, and we're going to have to continue to build on that. But it was, I think, Saturday was very encouraging. You were very kind in your question, by the way. Yes, it's.
Yeah, Coach. So Louisiana averaged almost 400 yards of offense last year per game and then had almost 500 this week. How does your defense limit them and stop them from having a big game on that end?
Yeah, I mean, they're good. And you watched the first game, and they really did a good job of spreading the ball around to their skill players. Again, a veteran offensive line, I may be wrong, but I know 4 or 5 have started. I think all of them have played a lot of snaps of football. Obviously a new quarterback. They had a quarterback battle. But he looked sharp in the first game, and like I said, they find ways to spread the ball around to get the ball to their guys. So I think at the end of the day, we got to go do our job. We got to make sure to make people earn what they get and not give it to them, and then we got to go play hard and we got to be tough, and we got to find ways to create some turnovers. That's something we weren't able to do a bunch of Saturday, but we got to find a way when. If we got them hung up, we got to find a way to get the ball out, find a way to create some momentum changes. But big thing is let's go do our job, and play hard, be tough. I think I told the guys too, like game 1 to game 2, man, there should be a drastic improvement. You got out there for the first time. You've been playing against yourself for, forever, and now you got all this on tape. They got the tape too, though. You know what I mean? They got the tape too. So like all these things we got to go improve upon, as they're going to see it as well, and just be more consistent in our execution, and then continue to play hard and be tough and do the things that I call Kennesaw State football. For those of you who ain't been around, that's when I'm talking about that. I'm talking about effort, attitude, and toughness. And but we got to live on it right now, and then we got to we got to be better in execution.
Running game, Q led the way with about 10 rushes, and Michael Benefield had about 3. In the running game, is there going to be like a committee approach, or is it going to be whoever has riding the hot momentums?
We feel like we got 3 backs that can go play right now. We went to the game with that. Obviously, running the ball was challenging. I think our guys up front, I mean, you go watch it, we're coming off the ball. It's not like we went out. I mean, they went at it. They're pretty good up front. And, So, but we felt like going into the game, we got 3 running backs that could go play in the game. We probably got more, but we talked about 3 with Quay and Benny and also Alexander Diggs, another. So we feel like those guys, as the season goes, they're all going to be a part of what we're doing. And so we'll see how each game goes, but they'll all be a part of that. We got to find a way to get a little more run game established. It was tough sledding at times, but we got to find a way to get that.
So we will see how they fare against Louisiana. Switching gears to the WNBA, about 7 games left for the Dream. They're back in action against the Wings tonight. You had an inkling this was coming. You were kind of hoping it wasn't the case, but after further evaluation, Cheyenne Parker-Tyus is shutting it down for the remainder of the season. It's a pretty big loss, El.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's not great. You don't want to see her go down. But they're still in the playoff hunt.
Just barely.
Barely, but it's still feasible.
And you hate to lose her, especially for these next 7 games. Let's run them down.
Yep.
play the Wings tonight, play Dallas at home. Then they go to Indianapolis to play the Fever on the 8th. They come back home to face Minnesota on the 10th. They face Washington on the 13th. They go to Washington on the 15th. They come back home to end the season at Chicago, and then they finish the season in New York on the 19th. Currently, the Dream are 11-22, tied with Chicago for that final spot. Washington is a half game behind them at 11-23. So those 3 games back to back to back against Washington, at Washington, against Chicago. You hate to lose Cheyenne Parker Tyus for that stretch of games.
Yeah, and not to mention you just came back from a West Coast trip that did
not
too
go well.
So you're hoping to get some momentum with this home game, but then you have to face the Fever, who have given you trouble all season. So it's not looking the greatest, but we'll see how it fares. You can get those highlights tonight on Atlanta News First at 11. Question of the week. It's
All
not
right.
spicy.
All right.
I'm just going to give you a moment to give someone their flowers because we're both soccer girls. Alex Morgan has announced her retirement. How do we feel about that?
Okay. Cards on the table.
Okay. Oh, no. Maybe this is a hot topic and I didn't even
no,
know it.
No.
Okay.
Ellie is my middle name.
Okay.
My first name is Alexandra.
Mhm.
And before I landed on Ellie as my middle name, it was originally going to be Morgan because of Alex Morgan.
I did not know that.
So, definitely a, woman who has had a sort of indirect influence on my life. And, it's hard. It's, not necessarily hard, but, a little bit bittersweet to see her retire, although she is pregnant, which, congratulations, So, yeah.
She really was.
Happy trails and congratulations to Alex Morgan.
She really was like that bridge between Mia Hamm in women's soccer to the next generation, which I think is really cool. I mean, I grew up on Mia Hamm, but I believe I was in college when Alex Morgan was kind of coming up and making it known, her name known with the U.S. women's national team. And so she's had such a big influence on the game and impact on young girls. It's crazy to see it end, but her last game, it's going to be everywhere. They're streaming it on CBS Sports Network, ESPN Plus, you name it, which is like the first to ever do so. So I think that's really cool. For what's on our mind, I'm going to go first because I kind of have another segue into this.
Okay.
I believe we talked about the Michigan documentary about Connor Stallions, and those documentaries are called Untold. There's another one that's called Untold that is about Hope Solo.
I have seen
Have
that
you
one.
watched it?
Yes.
I really, really, really enjoyed it.
It's a fun one. It's a fun one, I'll put it that way.
Okay, I don't know how much time I have. Okay, so what I want to get into about like goalkeepers in general, especially in soccer, and I've always said this, and it made me laugh that they said it in the documentary. To play goalkeeper in soccer, you have to be a little bit crazy.
Yes.
Hope Solo was always a little bit crazy, and everyone kind of knew it. But she really did become this massive villain. And it's really interesting to hear her side of the story. I do believe there's two sides to everything, and the real truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But to hear her detail things, I think she was very genuine and authentic. I thought it was really interesting. A lot of people wouldn't speak on the documentary, but then the people who knew her closest did. Including one of the former U.S. women's national team coaches. It was just a really interesting story. And I don't think a lot of people realize everything that happened with her getting benched and Scurry coming in and them getting absolutely dominated by Brazil, and then kind of having that storybook come back to go back to the Olympics and do that, while also her dad died. Like, just the story of it is a wild story if you have not looked into it. So definitely something worth watching, Ellie.
Yeah. What's on my mind? U.S. Open. Men's semifinals today. Yannick Sinner beat Jack Draper in 3 sets to advance to the final. And then basically right now we're going to have Taylor Fritz and Frances Tiafoe, the All-American semifinal, to determine that other spot in Sunday's final. So I'm
kinda-
excited for that.
I'm a Fritz
as
fan.
a tennis nerd.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how all of that pans out. But that will do it for this edition of Sports Tonight. Make sure to join us next week. We'll recap what happens with Georgia in their home opener against Tennessee Tech, Georgia Tech taking on Syracuse, how Kennesaw State fares, and of course the Falcons hosting the Steelers. We are going to have it all next week because we are fully into football season. But for Ellie Parker, I'm Bailey Burmaster. You all have a great night.